And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. A firefighter is a rescuer exclusively trained in firefighting, primarily to extinguish hazardous fires that threaten life, property, and the environment, as well as rescue people, and in some cases or jurisdictions, also animals from dangerous situations. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives to bring you this story from 1992.
A career that I was always interested in, and when the opportunity came up here in hometown to try it out, I decided to go with it.
So most of the other guys have been here 18 and 20 years. Do you think you'll be able to match that record?
Oh, I definitely. Okay. When this is my hometown, my family lives here, I don't have any plans on leaving. It's pretty tough working with guys that have that much experience, though.
So has it been what you thought it would be?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's lived up to my expectations. I enjoy it. I enjoy most aspects of the job. There are some aspects that are difficult to deal with.
There are regular jobs that must be done to keep the fire trucks and other vehicles in tip-top shape.
I'm assigned this piece of apparatus. That means that I'm responsible for this truck. Now, what we do is come down and we do a pre-road test inspection, which means I'll be going under the hood, checking everything under the hood, the oil, the transmission fluid, the belts, all that sort of thing. If I find anything wrong with that, I record it, then we can have it fixed by the yard mechanic. After completing that, I'll do a check of the whole truck with all the equipment on it and make sure everything is working or everything is where it's supposed to be. Like I said, I'm responsible for everything here. It's recorded in a book, and if anything goes wrong, I'm the guy that catches the, I'm in trouble, in other words.
The fire truck is just loaded with compartments. Do you check all the equipment in each compartment as well?
Well, I check most of the compartments, and I make sure that everything's in the place where it should be. The ones on the other side is the self-contained breathing apparatus. So all of that I will take out and check, physically check it all through and make sure it works. That's one of the most important part of our equipment. And if the cylinders are low or anything, I have to take them down, refill them. It's just part of an everyday routine we go through.
It takes about an hour to do each vehicle check, and if any piece of equipment is called to a fire, it's checked again.
It's all one self-contained unit.
There are no second chances in a fire, so essential apparatus must be in good working order.
Okay, we'll come along. What I was talking about earlier is the self-contained breathing apparatus, and we check to make sure all the bottles are full. These are our spare cylinders here, and once one is used from the actual unit, we replace them with these. And these, we have to make sure these are full, because the guy puts on an empty cylinder, you're in a lot of trouble. So basically it's just a visual check of all of these, which I've done. And then we come over to the actual unit itself, where you turn it on, make sure the cylinder is full. You check your valve here, you check your gauge to make sure the gauge is full, and everything works. You shut it down, you bleed it off. And so I know that unit is ready to go. Then you do a check of the mask. And what you do is you're checking this hose for any pinholes or anything in it where you don't want any gas or anything getting in there, like from an actual burn. So you check on, make sure there's no pinholes in it. You do an actual check of the mask. So you know this unit is good. You check the
Air brake tests are carried out on night shifts, and everyone knows just how to maintain and operate each and every piece of equipment. And if there's one piece of equipment firefighters enjoy operating, it's the department's pride and joy, the ladder truck, called Fire 2, delivered in 1987. The dashboard resembles the instrument panel of an airplane. Most every day it's taken out on a test run around the perimeter of the community.
Dispatch, Engine 2, radio check. How do you read?
Engine 2, this is dispatch. We read you loud and clear.
10-4, dispatch.
Okay.
Every day our radios have to be checked. That's a very important part of our equipment.
So what's the difference between operating the SkyPod and, say, Fire 1?
Definitely the size and the weight. This is a very long vehicle. It's 41 feet long and very heavy. So we have to be very careful when we're negotiating turns.
The SkyPod gives Kitimat firefighters the confidence they can deal with any fire situation, as it can reach a height of 105 feet, and it's been useful in other emergencies.
On some of the fires that we've encountered, it has come in handy, and also in one circumstance at Yurikan where somebody was hanging off a building, it came in very handy.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. Firefighters work closely with other emergency response agencies such as the police and emergency medical service. Firefighters also frequently provide some degree of emergency medical service, including certifying and working as full-time paramedics from the engine, truck, and rescue companies. Let us return to the archives as Kitimat Fire Department responds to a medical emergency.
In 1991, the Kitimat Fire Department responded to 229 fire calls. Firefighters also attended 352 ambulance calls, as the municipality is one of the very few in BC to rely on its fire department for that service. Ambulance calls go first to a central dispatch in Kamloops and are then relayed in short order to the fire hall.
Kitimat Fire and Ambulance Service. Hi there. 228163. Okay, it's 23 Farrell, man down, code 3. Thanks very much. Code 3 to 23 Farrell, code 3, 23 Farrell.
Portable Fire Hall, we copy. 23 Farrell, over.
Roger, 23 Farrell, man down with abdominal pain.
10-4, we copy. Ambulance 1138 is en route.
Depending on how many firefighters are on duty, a call goes out to bring in someone to cover while the ambulance is out.
Dispatch 1138, we're 10-8 to 23 Farrell.
Roger, 1138.
10-4.
To avoid confusion, the ambulance crew is told exactly where on the street the house they're headed to is located.
Correction 38 to Fire Hall. Could you place the address on the map?
Roger, 1138.
Most of Kitimat is so compact, it doesn't take the firefighters long to reach their destination and prepare to care for their patient.
Okay, whereabouts does it hurt?
All inside my stomach.
Okay, is it on the right, left?
Yeah, right.
Right side, eh?
Yeah.
Have you had this pain before?
No.
And how would you describe the pain? Is it a stabbing pain or is it?
Stabbing.
Okay, from a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it? 10 being the worst.
Probably about 6.
Okay. And you've never had this pain before?
No.
And when did you first start having this pain today?
Just when I came out.
Okay. And just taking your pulse here. Okay. Okay. Anything else unusual happened? Did you throw up?
No.
Been feeling hot or fever?
Not that I can tell.
Are you on any medication?
No.
Okay. Are you any allergies to anything?
No.
Okay. Who's your doctor?
Dr. Cooper.
Okay.
There's often little information to go on,
Okay,
and in
wanna
this
put it on
case,
6
it's
liters?
decided to take the patient to the Kitimat General Hospital.
My recommendation is we'll take you to the doctor at the hospital, and he'll give you a thorough checking over, okay? Especially since you were unconscious, and you should have that pain looked at, okay? Okay. What we're going to do now is bring in the cot, and we're going to load you onto the cot. Try not to move. We'll be doing most of the work, okay? So are you comfortable here? Okay. It doesn't hurt anywhere else?
No.
Okay. I'm just going to check here. Okay.
The patient is a tall, well-built person, so a coordinated effort is needed to get him into the ambulance.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. The fire service, also known in some countries as a fire brigade or fire department, is one of 3 main emergency services. From urban areas to aboard ships, firefighters have become ambiguous around the world. Let us return to the archives to discover other skills that may be required to be a firefighter.
There's little test buttons, and we're going to check each one.
If there's one thing the Kitimat Fire Department has, it's experience. 302 years in all between the 20 men who share the load. Each shift has a captain, each of whom has more than 20 years of knowledge to pass on. Rookies go through a kind of 3-year apprenticeship.
It's a 3-year indenture, and emphasis is placed on the first year, which is a probationary period.
Train, train, train is a theme, and on each shift there's 2 hours of instruction covering all aspects of the job.
Each day and each night we do a physical or a theory drill, and it is usually a 2-hour period. We use a file, and we have set drills that must be done each month. Examples would be breathing apparatus, JAWS drills, CPR, and maybe a hose drill. Then we fill in the extra areas with drills from, a good example is, we received this booklet from Emergency Health Services, and what it is a distance education plan. It has an exam with it, and it's a study guide. The men will sit down, they will read this. There is a program on the Knowledge Network that will complement this. They will sit down, they will do the course, they will write the exams, and it will be mailed away to EHS and be marked.
The Emergency Health Service trains each firefighter to what's called an EMA 1 level, and that's supplemented with industrial first aid and CPR training. Fires and ambulance calls can both be traumatic events. How is job stress coped with?
Critical incident stress has come to the forefront in our profession in the last couple of years. We're finding that firefighters must cope with, and ambulance attendants must cope with a variety of stresses that we didn't deal with in the past in a very professional manner. We do have an EAP program, and we do use the services of Dr. Wilson, and the Skeena Board of Health does have facilities and officers that can assist us in the case that we come across a call that requires intervention through a critical incident, debriefing, or a sit-down lecture or symposium on how to deal with stress.
The firefighters are well regarded in the community, and it seems to me at least it's quite a combination. The stalwart guy out on a serious fire call, and the person who ministers to patients in a caring way. How are the 2 roles combined?
The best determiner in that is after the probation period, a firefighter either knows whether he will stick or won't, and whether he does like the job and can handle that aspect of it. It usually is determined by the individual after they have been hired. And we have seen in the past where a person will say, this is not the life for me. And it is more of a way of life than a job.
One thing that can be grim is that ambulance calls often involve tragic circumstances, And in a small town like Kitimat, firefighters often know the people and families they have to deal with.
In a large city like Vancouver, you may never see the people that you're friends with or your neighbors, but here we have people that we've grown up with, gone to school with, and you may have to attend to them at an ambulance call or a fire call, and definitely it's going to hit home a lot harder than in a larger community.
One criticism that all firefighters face is the fact that they're allowed to sleep on the job.
Yeah, well, we've heard it all. We may doze but never close, and firefighters change shift in bed. And I've lived with this for some 35 years. But first off, a little history, I think, behind it. The department is tradition, and tradition dies very hard in the fire service. But in the old days, when I was a young firefighter, we worked 56-hour work week, and that was a 24 on and 24 off. So you went to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, took your lunch and your supper with you, and did your 8 or 10 hours of duty. Then we stood down after that period of time and played cards, listened to the radio. We didn't have TV in those days. And then you went to bed, all right? And you slept until either 6:30, 7:30 in the morning of the following day, got up, cleaned the station up, made it ready for the next shift coming on, then you went off duty. So over the years, the shifts were changed from 56 to 42, and that involved a 10 and 14 system, 2-day shifts of 10 hours, 2 14-hour night shifts. And some of these varied across Canada and North America. But the bed still stayed because it was a night shift. And the logic is there that working a man for 14 hours straight on his feet is darn near impossible. There's nobody at the 14th or the 13th hour who's going to be as sharp, particularly in our line of work. So consequently, the bed stayed. So you got a little bit of tradition and a little bit of actual need. Certainly a lot of pressure. Why do we pay people to sleep in bed? Well, to keep them fresh so that they can do a job, and the bells might go at the 11th hour here, and those fellows might be out for 6, 7 hours. I've been out 24 hours myself, round the clock on a fire.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Firefighter's shift schedule determines everything about the texture of their life. It defines where they can live, when they can see their family, what kind of work they can do on the side to supplement their income. In this final segment of Open Connection, former Fire Chief Bill Dawson explains what shift schedule Kitimat follows.
So to keep somebody up over that period just isn't logical. So in our station here, and I think you'd find again in every fire hall across this country that are on a 10 and 14-hour shift, coming on night shift, the members generally go on about 1800 at 6 p.m. They work through till about 11:30, quarter to 12. Then they go on what we call a stand down. Okay, and that means they can relax, watch some television, do some studying if they want, or go to bed and sleep. All right, and the members have a night hitch by the bed, which is their bunker suit and pants, so that they can clear the station, and they're still out of here when the bells ring within less than a minute, be either for ambulance or fire.
In the past, the fire department has come under intense criticism for its cost, but the operation has been analysed to the nth degree.
Terrace was the comparison city that we used, and the cost per capita and the cost per dollar protected were less in Kitimat than that in Terrace for our various budgets. Of course, we have a larger tax base, so that explains why per property protected are less, because we have a larger tax base.
It's municipal councils which decide what level of fire protection is needed, and the fire chief looks not at how much property is lost in fires, but how much is saved.
Since '86 to date, the fire department, through an aggressive fire attack, has saved $15,500,380. The cost of the department over that same period of time was $6,466,504. So the ratio of that, Lee, for every $2.39 saved, there was a cost of $1 for the fire department. So from a business point of view, a corporate point of view, it's good money.
An enormous amount of effort goes into education and fire prevention. A regular task for the firemen is overseeing fire drills in the community schools. When the fire bell rings at Roy Wilcox Elementary, the kids jump into their routine in very short order. Luckily, they've got a covered play area to muster in, so they don't get too wet. And the 350 students and 20 teachers have the whole thing down to a fine art.
Yeah, that was excellent time. That was 1 minute and 47 seconds.
What are we going to get?
In that area, under 2 minutes is excellent time.
The time, 1 minute and 47 seconds, is recorded to see if the school can better its performance the next time around. Next stop is a local building supply store that's on the regular inspection route. That's a cornerstone of the fire prevention program.
We're going to be doing an alarm test at Kitimat Builders, so you should get an alarm through TOLSEC.
Yeah, part 1 to part 2, I dropped firefighter Wovington off to do some work, and I'm down here with the ambulance.
10-4, we need to file here.
Come on in.
Hi, Harold. We're here to do our fire inspections.
Oh, that's great. How are you doing, Dave?
Best
Good to
in
see
New
you
Year.
for a long time. Thank you. Same to you. Well, that's good. You do that on a monthly basis, don't you?
That's right. You're a high hazard, so we come and visit you
Yeah.
at least every 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we appreciate that. You're doing a good job for us. And
Thank you.
give us that little letter and all the things we have to fix if it's not done right.
Great.
Okay.
So we're just
Super.
going to fly at it, and
Absolutely.
I'll talk to you when we're finished if there's anything that needs to be done.
Yeah. That's
Thanks.
great. Okay. Thank you.
The alarms are going to be going off. You can disregard it.
Alarms are checked out.
High hazard businesses, this is classified as a high hazard, are done every 2 months. Ordinary and low hazard are done.
Firefighter McIsaac, I'm ready at the alarm if you want me to pull it.
Go ahead, you can pull the alarm. Ordinary and low hazard are done every 6 months. Okay, we'll just check and see if everybody... Obviously works, we can hear it quite well. They could hear it out in the warehouse area.
And the store got high marks in this inspection.
Great. Okay.
There's one aspect of fire prevention in Kitimat, Chief Dawson, that's very close to your heart, is the junior firefighters program in the schools. So can you explain how that was developed?
Well, Lee, that's a very effective program. When I first arrived in Kitimat, our programs were directed at the adults, and a lot of do's and don'ts. Don't smoke in bed, don't do this, don't do that. They were on the negative plane rather than positive.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind to his heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.